favour? Against? Carried. Councillors, I think our way forward now is to have a vote, vote in principle. So we'll have a recommendation there, which obviously is found as option 2A and option 4. Option, I need to word this in a diplomatic way. Can I call for a recommendation? Councillor Meagle.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to recommend that Council give an in-principle decision to promote option 2A, and with that to therefore look at the shared facility model and staging that part of it. Let's build the option 2A first, and perhaps then look, because that dictates where the pool goes, and then and then to stage the certainly just at this stage to put forward option 2A as an in-principle decision.
Moved by Councillor Meagle. We have a seconder, Councillor Law.
Just what it is critical, so I just want to make sure we get the wording right. Councillor Meagle whilst on the screen. Councillor spell out. So I think rather than give in, we'll just say council adopt. Is that a better word?
Option, yeah, adopt.
Council adopt. Yeah.
Option 2A.
You read it?
No.
We'll read it back anyway.
Yeah.
In principle, still leave that.
Yeah, as the in-principle option.
Yeah. Option. And that's it?
Including the shared, no?
Yeah, you've got something written at the end of
With
it.
Staging the shared.
Including the shared.
Including the shared. Staging the shared.
It's staging the shared
Amenities facility.
yeah. Yeah.
The shared. Entry and amenities facilities.
Yeah.
Including the shared, take a look there. Yep. I'll leave them. Yep. So on the screen there, are you happy with that?
What's it say?
We can't see.
Councillor
Can we
adopt option.
unhighlight it?
Make it bigger.
And then ungrade it?
Just read it.
No, it's getting better.
Save the chair entry.
Amenities facility.
So that is Councillor Meagle.
And we've got a seconder, Councillor Law. Yeah. Okay, would anyone like to speak against the council? I'm sorry, for 2A. Paul? Yeah, for, at this stage. The mover, yeah. Well, if you'd like to add that.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I should get
Because I wouldn't mind speaking for it.
I believe that we are at one of those junctions where we have the option to be bold or to be conservative and to lead for the next 50 years. And then, as I mentioned in the committee of the whole meeting, that there are a number of factors, and notwithstanding the very good letter that was written on behalf of the swimming club, also the other members of the community and quite a large section of the community that would utilise an all-year facility that for aquatherapy, provide the all-year-round facility for children to learn to swim, and in the long term, and the only way that we can mitigate the operational losses of the pool is to increase the economic development and the patronage of the caravan park, and hence having that shared model and looking to upgrade the caravan park to provide a real attraction point for visitors to the area. I think that this gives us the best option to do that straight away. We can be generating income from all year round usage, and I think 2A also includes an outdoor splash park which will generate a lot of interest over the summer period. It provides an all-round programming pool, and it does provide the opportunity for a short course swimming events for the swimming club, and I understand the concern that they've had a long-standing history of long course events, and that this would only provide short course, but in the interest of the broader community, for the biggest amount of dollars over the three options, I believe that this gives the best use for the community for the money that we're spending.
Thank you, Councillor Miggle. The speakers are speaking for against. Councillor Whitechurch.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, if I could, and I've said before that the 50-metre pool option, the fact that the pool is already there, the hole is already in the ground, the cost savings to replace it with a new pool are going to be extenuated by the fact that the facility's there. I go back to one of the reasons that I come onto council, and that was the fact that I was personally sick of hearing the ratepayers and the people of the town going to public consultation, going to survey, getting attendance at town meetings and hall meetings, to then find the council went against what the town said. It happened time and time again, whether it was the traffic islands in the main street, now with the bridge, you look at the composite facility in Howland. We've had it all happen. Councillor Thomas had suggested that the general public wanted a 50-metre pool. If the council sat here and it wasn't feasible to put a 50-metre pool in and it didn't become cost effective, council would then, I would say, have a justification to go against it. Our figures presented, and they're public documents in our report here today, is that without the shared facility, the 50-metre pool shows a loss of $200,000. The 2A option that is put up at the moment shows a loss of $500,000 a year projected without the shared facility. Now, I'm not sure that if I was sitting in a boardroom talking to shareholders of a big company that I could convince them to put a facility in and at the end say, and shareholders, we're going to lose $500,000 a year out of this investment. Because there's no other option to create interest in that pool apart from the splash park that we're going to put in, which is going to be in the summer. I still say that the 50-metre pool is the only way to go, and because of the costings, I've no doubt that we can still look at multiple pools in that dollar value that we're looking to spend, going to design and construct. If we can't put in a 50-metre pool now, but call for tenders as well for another pool and put a decent splash park in, it will generate far more income annually for the 52 weeks of the year than any of these projections that we've got now. And that's why I'm going to be moving and supporting a 50-metre pool if this is lost.
Thank you, Councillor Whitechurch. Speaker 4. I'm sorry, I did take Councillor Longmire.
Yep. Happy with that?
Yeah, you.
Thank you.
Four.
I've come to the conclusion that I believe the move of Mr Councillor Meagle moving the adopted option for 2A, I support that now, considering everything. It was interesting to note on the Swimming Club report that their second option was 2A, and they gave some clarity in regard to options available to them. So I think that was worthy. The other one is going forward, and let's look at pools as what I've seen, but I'm not sure what the numbers here, but certainly say at Howland, you know, there's a subsidy over $100,000 a year to run that pool at Howland. So let's look at the cost benefit there, that if we do it for the shareholders basis, where it's a return option, you know, that's in profit, well, you don't even think about a pool because it's never going to happen. It's a thing that's available for the community for the reasons that we've spoken about and it's been debated in regard to a necessary thing for the youth, and so also in this instance with a heated pool for the older people. So the broader spectrum of more members of the community. And the other one is going forward with the opportunity to stage the reception area down the track, and we have to do it sooner than later, is restructure the ballpark caravan park within the next couple of years. I'd imagine, and I think Ms Kay would endorse this, that there would be money for flood alleviation opportunities in grant funding to perhaps endorse what we want to do to upgrade it. And if anybody goes on the website today, you'll find on the Channel 9 News this morning that Michael McCormick, our Deputy Prime Minister, our local member from Wagga, has come out with an endorsement of the Treasurer in the forthcoming federal budget talking about $120 odd billion available for infrastructure. So I'm suggesting there's going to be plenty of money. I think also in the New South Wales opportunity there'll be a lot of money available as well. So if we're fair dinkum about tourism, we're fair dinkum about spending this money, which we've already adopted between here and Mulwala with the $7 million or whatever it is for the riding track and all the rest of it. If we're fair dinkum about wanting to create Corowa as a tourist destination and a go-to point, I think we need to look at option 2A in a stage opportunity and then back ourselves to the future. Thank you.
Councillor, again, please.
Well, I don't have too much. Oh, sorry, again.
I do need an against, yes. Councillor Kennedy.
Yeah, no, I believe option 4 is the way to go. Like you can build a 50-metre pool. The town said they want the 50-metre pool. Like ideally, my owner like a 50-metre pool too, but we've got the lake. That's all we've got down there. And I'm saying that I don't want to spend the whole amount of money, like based on one thing. We can go and build a pool, a heated facility for therapy pools, a lot cheaper than what you can. And I've got no doubt, if we build a 50-metre pool, if we're going to spend that amount of money, we can get the whole lot in one go. So I'm going to back the option 4. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't have too much to say. Not a company board director, and I'm really pleased. Because if we were going to spend $8 million on a facility for 15 weeks of the year, that is ridiculous. That is absolutely ludicrous. And we can have something that can be used every day of 365 days of the year. If our learned councillors here think that it can be done cheaper, well good, we'll put the 50-metre pool in later. But to start with, I think we need an all-year-round facility to work with the caravan parks, excuse me, to provide an attraction, to bring the tourists, more tourists to town, and to make us a really good hub for people to come to for the tourism.
Thank you, Councillor Law. Anyone against Councillor Thomas?
As I mentioned earlier, I just think that if we didn't have a 50-metre pool, we actually lose that outdoor experience. So I just think that it's such a valuable experience for people to have that outdoor environment. I do realise that we can only use an outdoor facility as per quoted here for 15 weeks a year. I mean, that's black and white for us. The other component is that I very consciously in the back of my mind that you know, we do have that component of our community and our visitors that that could possibly utilise both the indoor and an outdoor pool. But let's look at the concept that once a 50-metre pool's gone, it's gone. I know we'd like to have this staged approach when we go with a 25-metre pool, but I would like to think that you could have a 50-metre pool and then look at the 25-metre option and really narrow down why you want a 25-metre indoor pool. I know that we've talked concisely about the tourists and attracting tourists, but maybe we should also look concisely at looking at the occupational therapy side of things and actually narrowing it down and looking at what members of the community actually require such a facility.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. I think, Councillor, we're getting pretty close to exhausting conversation. Councillor Mead, would you like to use your right of reply?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe that option 2A provides the best value for money to the council in terms, and no, we don't need to spend it all. The tenders will cover, the tenders will be what the tenders will be, and we certainly don't have to accept any tender. We have 3 options before us. What we've heard is a number of different options come up in conversation, but let's look at the 3 options that are before us. We have 50-metre outdoor, full stop. We have 25-metre indoor, full stop, or we have the combined single body of water facility, which I don't think anybody is really entertained because it doesn't actually meet the needs of any one particular group very well. The 50-metre outdoor certainly achieves the maintaining the status quo on behalf of the swimming club and achieves the status quo. In an attempt to look forward, certainly I agree that we need to look at the whole community and the ageing population of our community, and that they should not be forgotten. Certainly the main reason that we're building this pool is so that the young people have an opportunity to learn to swim. But also we should be considering the aged community who also require aquatherapy and who are a significant part of our community. So option 2A is the way forward, rather than maintaining the status quo. And the only reason for going down that path, one of the contributing reasons for going down that path, is that it forms a integral facet of the upgrade to Ball Park, Caravan Park that's being considered. If we're not going to upgrade Ball Park and just leave it as it is, or do it separately, that changes the whole thing. But I believe the shared facility, the attraction that an indoor facility provides to the Caravan Park, that it looks after the broadest section of our local community, and with the attraction of attracting people for its use all year round, makes it the winning option. Thank you.
Right, councillors, I think we've come to that point, unless there's anyone burning to speak anymore. I'll read the recommendation. The recommendation is, thank you, the motion is, it was being moved, the council adopt option 2A as the preferred in principle option, and staged in the shared entry and amenities facility. Councillors Beagle and Councillors Law. So there's a recommendation, councillors. By raising your hand, we'll put it all in favour of the motion. 1, 2, 3. Against? The motion goes down. Is lost. Can we have a new motion from the floor, please? Councillor Whitehead.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, I'd like to move that the council adopt option 4 as a preferred in principle option, and at that point call for tenders for an indoor heated pool and other splash park, etc. So, sorry, Rochelle, just calling for option 4 in principle, but also call for tenders as a design and construct for all other indoor 25 and splash park. And once they're in, we have a look at the shared facility as to if and when we go ahead with that.
So we've got a mover. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Wales.
I just need to get the wording through.
Option 4 as in principle, as the preferred in principle option.
I'm sorry, Councillor Wales.
Yeah, can I just have clarity on the options that we're preferring, a 2A or 4? Now we've got an option, a motion that's moved that is inclusive of something that hasn't been an option up until now.
Yeah, so I'm just going to comment on that. Thanks, Councillor Michael May, on the wording, just to allow our tender process to run correctly and in fairness to all the options. I think possibly the above, Councillor Whitechurch, would be the straightest way to go out to a tender is that, and then allow for that design instructor or alternate tenders to look at those other avenues. We can't really go to tender on 2 different options, so I think it's probably best to leave that last heap of lines out, or to leave that last part of that.
Yeah, no. Just to clarify there, Mr Butler, obviously I'm moving a motion to adopt option 4 as the principal option.
Yeah.
But I don't see a need at this point to be discussing the shared option for the entry until such time as we decide whether we can go ahead, and that will only be found out by getting tenders for those other things. So however you want to word that, but in principle the motion is to adopt option 4, but I still would like to see the other option investigated, because I believe there's an opportunity to do both pools and splash parks.
Okay, but the seconder was Councillor Wales. Have we got
Sorry, not, yeah.
Rochelle, we're just getting a bit of wording.
Just to clarify, so I guess this question was the same as what I said. So option 4, you would need to do that investigation for proceeding with option 4, because where you would position the pool will change depending on if you do shared option or not. So you do need to address that really, I guess, now.
Yeah, I'm not sure, would we move the pool that far by having the option? You're only talking about, 40, 50 metres.
Well,
Where would you move it to and from the hole that's already there? And if you had to, it's not a large, given the whole scope of it being potentially a water aqua facility, I don't believe that moving it's going to be a big issue. Like, I don't think you'd have to move it, personally. If it was,
Yeah, Councillor Whitechurch's motion at the moment reads that move that council adopt option 4A as a preferred in principle option. Are you happy with that? Yeah. And, Councillor Whitechurch. Okay, there's a new motion, all in favour? Oh, I'm sorry, yes, would you like to speak for Councillor Whitechurch?
look, just reiterating, I guess, my objection to to motion 2A. I believe the pool is one thing, but looking forward it's the whole complex. The pool's not going to be the draw card. The council has pledged and willing to go to up to $8.5 million minimum without the shared complex. One of those decisions was going to do that. I think we'll find that you're going to end up with a full aqua facility down there that as a whole is going to be a big draw card for the caravan park and the town. And I think that was why I went for the 50 metre, because it's there. As Councillor Thomas said, once you take it out, it's gone. And if you did take it out and wanted to put it in as a second option down the track, what Councillor Law insinuated, I think that additional cost to fill it in, compact it and cover it, to then go and dig it back out and put it somewhere else wouldn't be logical.
Speaker against Councillor Law.
I admire Councillor Whitechurch's visionary outlook, but to get down to grassroots, $8 million for a 15-week facility. I hope that the people in the Shire are watching. $8 million for a 15-week facility is ludicrous.
Thank you, Councillor Law. Now we've got Speaker Paul. Councillor Kennedy, would you like to speak?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, $8 million for 15 weeks. Now, it probably is a lot of money, what Councillor Law is saying, but the people have said, by the Cora people, no one in Mulwala voted for this, like Cora people said they want a 50 metre pool. And so that's the option. If we listen to the people, we've been voted here by the people, that's the option we should go. Thank you.
Any speakers again? Councillor Law.
Just to comment that, yes, we've taken on all the feedback from the community, and I think that one of the options is for the council to lead. I think, and I hope, I really hope, that by adopting option 4, this council hasn't missed an opportunity to place the council area at the forefront of the region, rather than also, because to replace the pool at 50 metres, we've only maintained the status quo. Our place, our attraction, both inside the local area and outside in the broader area, has not changed one iota. And so I believe that the investment to maintain the status quo is far more expensive than the investment to take the council forward.
Any further speakers again? Four, I'm sorry. Councillor Thomas.
I said it, one should just reiterate that with the outdoor facility of the 50 metre pool, that also does include a learned swim pool and also a splash park, which is an attraction, which we don't have currently. Which will also be included in the facility.
Thanks, Councillor Thomas. Any further speakers against? If not, I'll
Yeah, with the opportunity, with the right of reply, Mr Mayor, big decision, a lot of figures, a lot of stuff, many councils. I totally agree with Councillor Meagle and the endeavour that's gone through the council to see it. I, for one, am all about Cora moving forward and stuff happening in Corowa. I don't agree with the comment that we're only going for the status quo. I still go back to, and Councillor Thomas just hit the nail on the head, if it's a 50 metre pool that includes a learn to swim program pool and a water park. Now, that's the in-principle decision with the 50 metre pool. I go back to the fact that we can get a hell of a lot more for the money that the council was looking to spend once we get the pricing. So you'll find that the 50 metre pool goes in, we will still have money to put, the splash park's going to be in that figure, and it'll be well under the 8 million. If we just put the 50 metre pool in, there's one being built at the moment for 3.4 million. A 50 metre pool, grass to concrete. The figures that we get, we will not know what the market rate is until we get the tenders, and if there's money left over, I think we'll be sitting here saying, do we want to continue on and put a 25 metre indoor pool, not to 8 lanes wide, maybe 4 lanes wide for learn to swim program pool, and move forward from there, but it will be a go-to place.
All right, councillors, I think we've had enough debate, so I'll now put the motion. The motion reads, move that council adopt option 4 as a preferred in principle option, moved by Councillor Whitchurch and Councillor Wells. Those in favour of the motion, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Against? 1, 2, 3. Motion's carried. Yes, we'll have to ask the Director of Corporate and Community Services report, please.
Now, item 6.1 is reconfirming our live streaming policy. This was reviewed after being in use the last 12 months. So we've had some minor updates, just recommending that that be adopted.
Okay, would someone like to move that recommendation? Moved by Councillor Thomas and seconded by Councillor Law. Any questions or comments? Councillor Long.
Mr Mayor, if I may, it's been pointed out to me that as recently as today that the camera up there only gets about half the chamber. Other times it's missed important people on this side of the council chamber.
I think it's me ball patch.
Certainly gets that.
Maybe we might be able to look into that for Council online. Get some better audio. So if there's nothing else, we'll put it all in favour. Against, carried.
Point 2 is an update about Youth Week, which is this week, and that has been going really well. So we've been running around the council area, engaging with our young people as part of the Light Bulb initiative. We're currently in Mulwala as we speak, and we have been in Oakland and Ranner, and those little sessions went really, really well with 12 young people attending both, and just been so grateful for the activities there today. So it was just really lovely. So that's just for council's information.
Yeah, do we have a mover and seconder, please, councillors? Councillor Thomas and Councillor, seconded by Councillor Whitechurch. Any questions on that one? If not, I'll put it in favour. Against, carried.
Should have just noted that was funded from technically a grant program. Item 6.3 is another really exciting initiative for our young people. So following the nomination process we have formed a youth council, and so council received 8 nominations. One was actually later withdrawn, but really pleased to announce that Caitlin Moore, Dylan Forge, Alana Jenseslin, I did try to clarify the pronunciation, I'm not sure if I am correct with that, Liam Summons, Noah Little, Olivia Hughes and Tyler Martin. So the first ordinary meeting of the new Federation Council, the Youth Council, will be on Monday the 30th of April, and an invitation has been extended to councillors to attend a small function after their first meeting. So it's going to be a really great opportunity for us to continue our engagement with our young people in the future.
Excellent. Can we have a mover, please, Councillor Law, and a seconder, Councillor Whitechurch. Any questions or comments? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Yes. Carried.
6.4 is an update for council, just a brief report, I should say, in relation to the billy cart event, obviously, over Easter, which was successful, and I really just wanted to thank the staff, many of which volunteered that weekend to work, and the volunteers that helped to make the event possible, and the sponsors, of course. Thank you to Councillor Whitechurch for emceeing the event as well. So that's just the council's information.
Councillor move that recommendation, moved by Councillor Kennedy, seconded by Councillor Meagle. Any questions or comments? Councillor Whitechurch?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to speak as attending the Billy Cart Championships for 3 or 4 years now, and been involved obviously as the MC and with helping with the traffic. The Cora Events Committee have got quite a few people that are ticketed to do event management as in traffic control, and they were again used for the Billy Carts, which I believe saved them a fair cost. They also did the hot rod race just a month before. But I did speak with Amber, and I think maybe it's something that we can look at, is Billy Cart are attracting people from far and wide. There's a lot of people in town that come and watch it, but some of the competitors are coming from Canberra and Geelong, and they're return people. I'm thinking that maybe we could look at making it the Australian Billy Cart Championship, making it iconic by having the finals here, and speak to all the other towns that have Billy Cart races. And if you Google it, there's quite a few. Get them to run their Billy Cart races whenever they do, and come to Corowa for the final. Because the length of the Billy Carts, the problem that I see, and it's year in, year out, and there's nothing you can do about it, is it goes from 9 o'clock in the morning until 1:30 in the afternoon. And by the end of the day, you can't expect people to stay there all day. It's too long. They won't hang around. Whereas if you could make it, shorten it till 9 till say 12, and have the finalists from each age group all over Australia, well then we could run our own Corowa Billy Cart Championships on another weekend for just the Corowa people, and we'd have finalists that would attend. So to generate another event in the town on another long weekend, and perhaps make it more a national event to bring these people in. Just a thought.
Good idea, Councillor Whitechurch. Would there be any further councillors? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Against, carried.
6.5, the Enchanted Hut project is the repurposing a small hut in the Memorial Park that's currently not being utilised, which is positioned next to the playground, and turning that into an enchanted hut, which we have received $5,000 worth of funding for. So we currently have an expression of interest out with artists at the moment to help create that enchanted hut, which we think will actually be a great attraction for Howland. So we're currently receiving artistic concepts, and really looking forward to working with the community on that small but important project.
Excellent. Moved by Councillor Ward and seconded by Councillor Longmire. And Councillor Longmire, did you want to make a comment?
If I may,
Yes.
It's quite interesting. I'm really excited about the future of the Rotunda in Howland, because quite a number of years ago in the previous Walman Corowa Council there was some opportunity to either repair it or knock it over. And I can assure you there was a lot of consternation in the community of Howland about the heritage value of that building down at Memorial Park. And so they'd be very grateful in Howland to make sure it's kept there.
Excellent. Nothing further, councillors? I'll put it all in favour. Again, carried.
6.6, Stronger Country Community Fund. So, as council is aware, we have $3.6 million funding that is subject to an application process. We've completed the expression of interest process, and we received 17 expressions of interest as part of that, which I've summarised and circulated to council, and will be presented at the workshop at this afternoon, so the council can shortlist those, any applications that we then will need to develop into a fully fledged application and submit those for funding. So that's, again, I have a recommendation that the time frame has been quite a challenge in terms of having to run this process really quickly, because we really only had 7 weeks to do this, and there's quite a bit involved in preparing the applications, and depending on the number of applications we actually do prepare. So I have a recommendation there that will just allow councils to shortlist as part of the workshop and not as part of the council meeting, because time just didn't allow us to do that.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Thomas and seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Any questions or comments? Councillor Thomas.
I'd just like to formally congratulate those 17 applications. Putting an application together is not a 5-minute job, especially when it comes to budgets and monies and gaining background information. So congratulations to those 17. I really look forward to this afternoon's workshop and working through those 17 applications.
Thank you. And if nothing further, I'll put it all in favour. Against, carried.
So the 6.7 Memorial Park Playground Shade Sale, we would normally take this sort of initiative as part of the budget discussions. However, the Howlong Opportunity Shop have approached Council with the opportunity of a significant donation towards a shade sale at the new Memorial Park Playground. And hopeful that donation can be made this financial year. We have some funds that could be transferred from another budget if Council is supportive of this. We are hoping that Council in the future can consider shade sales as part of obviously working on upgrading our playgrounds and shade sales. Shade is an important aspect of a playground. So it's a great opportunity and as a recommendation there for Council to reallocate funds so that we can accept that donation and that will complement the Extended Park project as well.
Someone like to move the recommendation, moved by Councillor Kennedy and seconded by Councillor Whitechurch. Any questions or comments? Thanks, Councillor Meagle.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a couple of questions. The reason for bringing this one outside of researching an overall shade program, which I noticed came up in comments relating to the Stronger Communities Fund where shade sales have been is that the Opportunity Shop can only do it this financial year, or is it that only Council can do it this financial year? Because to me, great to have the op shop coming on board and partnering with Council. I think that's a tremendous idea. But in the broader concept, if we're going to go down a shade sales program for all our playgrounds, could we not defer that and put it in as part of that whole program, contributing to that shade sale, rather than transferring funds and doing it straight away? So is there the time frame and where it's come from?
The Opportunity Shop would like to make this donation this financial year, so that is where it's coming from. That's certainly their preference, and they obviously have opportunities of things that they could donate to, so I couldn't guarantee that the funding would be there for this in the future, but it might be if we spoke to them about that, we are still wanting to proceed with that, but we might be able to negotiate that. But their preference was this financial year.
Councillor Kennedy.
Yeah, that recommendation, number 3, I really, after being one of the councillors, there's a few of us went out to Boree Creek, and that was one of their main things, is across the road from the pub there, the park's there, and the kids can't get on the slides because they burn their bum on it pretty much. So that was one of their main things after that day. I reckon that's a great option there to give other options for other playgrounds for the whole Shire, which is very good.
Any further questions or comments, councillors? I'll put it. All in favour? Again. Carried. Okay, thank you, Christy. We'll now move on to the Director of Finance and Organisation Development report. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 7.1 statutory report on the bank balances and reconciliation as at the end of March.
So moved by Councillor Meagle, seconded by Councillor Law. Any questions or comments, Councillor? All in favour? Against? Carried.
7.2 schedule of investments as at the end of March 2018.
Moved by Councillor Whitechurch, seconded by Councillor Meagle. Questions or comments? If not, all in favour? Against? Carried.
7.3, seeing that Mr Singley wrote into Council, we also had a number of other comments with last year's budget process. I brought the report forward here on a rates review for implementation for 1 July 2019.
Moved by Councillor Whitechurch, seconded by Councillor Wales. Any questions or comments? If not, Councillor Thomas.
Mr. Parker, I just wonder if you could clarify with the suggestion of the committee, when would that committee be formed? Become a working party?
Basically, we were talking about the beginning of next year, January, February, March type of time, in time for the budget process for the following year.
Can I just ask, why wouldn't that committee be brought forward with the financial years rather than the calendar year?
In undertaking a rates review, you'll find that it takes a certain amount of time. So it would be great to have it ready for the April sort of discussions to deal with the budget starting that 1 July 2019. Just a few other points raised earlier. Uranus still has minimum rates, so there will be some complications as we bring the two rate systems together. There's also new valuations that are expected the year after next, and they can throw the balance out again. So one reason for a rate review committee being formed, particularly with representation from in the community as well, is that it's usually a more complex item than straightforward calculations. There's a lot of aspects that you balance up. The one thing that, in the end, from the council's point of view, makes up 20-something% rates of our general fund income, which is good quarter to 20% sort of area. And the other thing in setting that, it is a tax system, so we don't have access to all the equity features that other levels of government information might have, to do with pensioners, to do with people who own or mortgage their houses, or all sorts of different questions come up that we don't have information on, and so therefore ours ends up being a more or less hopefully a steady as she goes type approach. We will look at the rate categories that we end up with. There is an opportunity, I think, to do things slightly differently, to allow the highs and the lows of particularly across our residential and business categories, to be somewhat removed out of the complication, because if you set it to allow for the lows, it impacts the highs. If you set it to balance out the highs, you tend to affect the lows. So it's an interesting process, and I look forward to it at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr.
Just another comment. Thanks to Mr. Parker for that, and also Mr. Seeliger for his presentation on the timing of that committee. I think the workload involved and the consultation will probably bring that forward. Kim, I would have thought the formation of that committee, I think, will have to happen later in this calendar year to be effective if we're looking to go from July.
Oh, sorry. Basically, that's what I'm recommending.
Yeah.
But the process will be starting in the very early in the following year.
Yeah.
Anything further, councillors? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Against? Carried. Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Parker. And now we'll move on to Director of Infrastructure and Environment.
Sorry, one more.
Oh, sorry.
7.4 is a change to legislation where we've got to report, councillors as well, related party disclosures, Mr. Mayor. Hopefully councillors have been able to have a review of the information that's presented there. It's basically, this report is to form up a policy and note the need for a register and basically forms that councillors and other significant people which in here. They've called key management personnel, involving councillors and other key management personnel, including transactions with close family members of the councillors or KMP, or with entities that the councillors, KMP or close family members control. So it's fairly wide ranging, so it's important for you to be over this. One of the comments from our external auditor was along the lines that if we don't have the appropriate forms by everyone, we can have a qualified financial statements statement issue when it comes to the completion of the financial statements, and that's viewed by the OLG in particular, if not the community, in a very negative way.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, just a quick one on that one too. I've been involved with other councils. It is quite a very important process, more so the more and more we hear about some of those metropolitan councils that are under review around planning and council involvement, but it also goes to staff. So delegations for council staff to approve development applications, very structured, rigid process that we need to follow so that even other staff members sending applications in need to make sure, even as far as saying, well, are they on the same level as that person, so they need to refer that up, the level of change within that planning department. So there's quite a bit of requirement that's going to come on us that we're up for, but yeah, it's going to change our systems and make sure we do have a really good procedure around how we approve any application that's got a related interest in it.
Okay, anything further, councillors? If not, I'll put all in favour. Against? Carried. And now we move on to... that was the last recommendation.
Yeah, sorry, missed that.
Oh, sorry.
We didn't have a move.
Didn't get
Oh,
one.
didn't we get it?
I didn't scribble that.
Yeah, because I skipped the page. I moved by councillor Meagle, I thought, and I thought it might have been councillor Longmire.
You're right.
And all was in favour, of course.
Okay.
Okay, now we'll move on to the Director of Infrastructure and Environment report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Yeah, 8.1 is our building approvals monthly update on activity, and you'll see there's 15 applications have been processed in the month. Just a report for noting.
Sorry, just look at that report, moved by councillor Meagle, seconded by councillor Law. Any questions or comments? Building appears to have slowed down in this period, hasn't it?
That's a fraction.
Yeah.
Fraction, but then it's not unusual moving into school holidays,
Yeah.
etc. as well.
Yeah.
So, let's do less.
Anything further, councillors? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Against? Carried.
Report 8.2 is for development applications approved under delegation since the last council meeting, and again that reflects the slowdown that's occurring at the moment. Recommendation again is to note the report.
Moved by councillor Law, seconded by councillor Thomas. All in favour? Against? Carried.
Report 8.3 is for the integrated water cycle management documentation. Councils have an obligation under the Water Act and various other best practices supply of water to actually have two major documents, the integrated water cycle management document and the strategic business plan for water and sewerage. Within this, our current Federation Council, our water supplies are essentially unchanged from the Corowa Shire supply situation in the Riverina Waterwood Farm in the formerly Rannoch space. So, in essence, this document will be an update of the pre-existing Corowa document. However, as part of that, there's a consultation process required, and for that, we need a project reference committee of which the document or the process requires two councillors to be nominated. So through this report, I'm calling for the nomination of councillors to be on that project reference group.
Councillor Laws put hand up, then councillor. Do you want a couple or three?
Two.
We've got two there, councillor Longmire and councillor Meagle. Who'd like to take to councillor Longmire?
The only thing I think was on it before. I've had a bit of a go at that.
Right, happy with that? Okay, we've got councillor Law and councillor Longmire.
And then we need to move and second.
And we've got to get a mover and seconder. Did you have a comment, Councillor Thomas?
I could move that.
Okay, moved by Councillor Thomas and seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Any further questions or comments? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Aye. Against, carried.
Report 8.4 is for the floodplain risk management study, which is a follow-on from the previous work we've done on the floodplain study itself, identifying our floods. Again, I've got a recommendation there that we need 2 councillors on a floodplain committee to help this report continue forward.
I'd be happy to be one of those, and Councillor Longmire?
Yeah, John, I'll nominate if that's okay, but asking a question through to Mr Butler in regard to, we had a selection earlier when we got on the council about members on a flood committee. I think I'm on one of those somewhere too. It's not the same one, is it?
We've actually finished that part of the flood study, so we're now moving into the next phase.
It's a new one.
New committee,
New
it's
committee.
the same project that's dragged on, so we've got to call the whole.
Yeah. I'm only happy to do it if that's okay.
Yeah, and was there, just before I move on there, was there another, did you raise your hand?
I did, but that's okay.
Are you happy? Because you, okay, all right.
Basically,
Councillor. Okay, Councillor White. And, okay, mover and seconder, we've got to move it, Councillor Thomas. And seconder would be Councillor Law. All in favour? Aye. Against, carried. Okay, thank you very much. Question with notice. So we've got Councillor Longmire to Mr. Gore.
First of all, thank you for the chance, Mr Mayor, and I thank Mr Gore for answering the question with notice. In regard to the streetscape plan that goes back a few years ago, I'm not sure how far back, but some of us attended a workshop at the Oddfellows Hall, and so it's been asked of me what happened to the outcome in some of this opportunity of some of the people, the traders in Sanger Street. And I think diligently the Sanger Street traders and certainly the Friends of Sanger Street and the Chamber of Commerce and industry people have done a great job. I mean, the mural outside Safeways is such an example of, you know, people doing a really good job with support of council. But in regard to the opportunity, the question that I would ask Mr Gore in regard to the total budget that was allocated, and he's announced how much here has been spent on consultant fees, and I noticed that they're no longer operational, the consultants that were engaged. And so I guess the question is, how much is in the budget, who will be the consultant, and what's the time frame for the project to be up and running?
Through you, Mr Mayor. The project, as Councillor Longmire has pointed out, the consultant we did have has gone into liquidation, and as such that puts a halt on what we're progressing with them. We've taken that opportunity to do what I've asked our staff to always do, question our projects. We've done the research into the background, etc., and we're reasonably satisfied that we are still heading in the right direction. Of the project, we had a budget of $600,000. The $40,000 that's been spent includes previous work prior to the current consultant who's gone into liquidation, so it's not just that one person or one group. In terms of resetting the project, we'll be rewriting a brief around the streetscape to get a new consultant and then to move back forward with that work that we've done previously. I would like to say too that with the $600,000, it's an opportunity to actually leverage that with other grant schemes to try and actually boost the number of dollars, because for $600,000 we're not going to do a lot of work. So I'd rather use that to leverage a bigger grant with a plan, solid plan in place. So there will be more work with the consultant over the next few months to get them back on board, and there will be, unfortunately, a rehash on the community consultation around that to actually make sure we are drawing the plans together properly.
Thank you, Mr Gore. Councillor Longmire.
So you're proposing, perhaps, Mr Gore, that within the period of 12 months, because the urgency is, I'm asking, is because there's major projects turning up everywhere and the expenditure of funding. And as long as like the pedestrian crossings that was adopted, and it's been, some of them have been removed for the Billycart races and never been replaced. I mean, people are still asking what happened. Yeah, so that's the reason.
3 years ago, yeah. I've taken note of that, and whilst it's something I wasn't aware of until this morning, they are things we need to go back and look at again, the format of those crossings, etc., a few things around it. But yes, most definitely want to move forward on the project, so within 12 months I would hope that we've got a number of grant applications out to actually try and leverage 600,000 into something much bigger, so we can do a full street scope rather than pieces.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Maybe. All right, reports from committees. We've got a local traffic committee. There's minutes of the local traffic committee held in Forest Civic Centre on Tuesday, 10th of April. And I recommend to adopt and advise that we adopt the actions. Would someone like to move that? Moved by Councillor Wales, seconded by Councillor Law. Any questions or comments? Question, Councillor Kennedy?
Yeah, just about that. I've had multiple people in Mulwala ring me about this 50k zone in Mulwala. And they're asking why isn't it in Korowa? Like you go halfway out past the Mulwala tip and it's 80 k's, not even a house either side of it. You drive into Korowa, you're still 100 k's coming past all that housing in there. How come that happens? Like it's it's just they think there've been some done. It used to be 80 k's to my front gate. Now it's 50 k's, half a k out the road still, and we're sort of halfway to the Rennie turn off, and you're doing 50 k's sort of thing. And people are really. They ring me all the time and say, what can you do about it? I said, well, as far as I'm concerned, nothing I can do about it because it's RMS, but is there one way we can say, why can't we go back to the 60 kilometre limit and even have 50 k's between the bridge and up to the ski club, because that mad mile on Mulwala, like they crawl along there, and the highway patrol is sitting there making an absolute fortune. Yeah, so I'm just wondering if there's anything we can do about it, Mr. Gall.
Good question.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. As part of the local traffic committee, RMS do report to us when they're doing traffic reviews and big changes to speed zones, etc. It's an opportunity also for us to request a review through the committee by them. So I'll put that forward to them that we try and work to get some uniformity from how long, right through all the towns along the river, as well as all the other towns. We have a similar problem up at Oaklands, where the old speed signs, etc. are inappropriate now. Yep. So there's a whole body of work we do need to do, but rather than do it one job at a time, I'd like to get RMS to actually do it as one big.
Because you come from 100 k's to 50, bang. There's no tail end, there's no nothing anymore.
I'd just like to say on that, there has been a move Australia-wide to do that right across the board. You go from 100 down to 50, that's why they have the 50 ahead warnings now, whereas previously it might have been a 70 k sign. So there's been a change in how the traffic's managed in that aspect of the information we give.
There was at one stage a recommendation to have Hume Street made to 50 kilometres and to have Out Korowa made 50 kilometres, but nothing ever happened.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
Just to reiterate what our fellow councillors have mentioned within this session, I just thought, Mr. Gall, if you could walk us through the process, because I actually know of 3 letters that have been written to council in regards to traffic matters in Mulwala, and they haven't. How do they get addressed? If they're not addressed through this particular committee, how are they addressed? Because they haven't had responses to them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When a traffic-related issue comes into council, it's provided to myself and to our road safety officer, which is an adjunct to his role that he's not normally undertaken, as to provide information to the local traffic committee. We do have some letters there at the moment which we've got to deal with as yet. We've had a couple down at Mulwala. One of the ones that went through Mulwala, for example, was around the pedestrian crossings at the school and buffers. I believe that's been underway. They've been through the local traffic committee. At some point, I've got to get back through all the previous traffic committee minutes and work out what we've missed, what hasn't been done, and catch up. And that'll catch some of those that you're hearing about, hopefully.
Thank you.
Wales or Ball? Councillor Longmire, did you have a comment?
Yeah, we're all having a bit of a go. Have a go at Mr. Gorham today. In previous traffic committees where there was a representative from council, or more than one in past councils, that one of those opportunities presented itself for a subcommittee that went out and did a traffic study for speed in the three communities at that time, in Mulwala and Corowa and Howland. And that, I don't believe, has been taken up. The action to be taken on that hasn't been initiated because in Corowa, I can't speak for Mulwala absolutely in Howland, but certainly in Corowa, there is no action being initiated on a recommendation from that subcommittee, which was endorsed and adopted through council's process of traffic committee meetings. So I'd just like to make Mr. Butler's making notes of that, so you might find that one out if you don't mind. Thank you for that.
Councillor Roger.
Yeah, not relating to Mr. Gore, so at ease. Just touching on the committees, and I think Councillor Thomas had brought it up before. Yeah, well, actually it was Councillor Longmire regarding the committees that we were placed on at the start of the year, early in our time. Some of those committees haven't been in touch, I know, with myself. I don't know if they haven't met, and I, for one, wouldn't know some of the ones that I'd been placed on. Perhaps we could just get that sent out again. I've been to 2 of the meetings of the committees that I've been put on, and they keep me informed of when the next meeting is. But I'm just maybe worried that some of the committees don't know what council have been assigned, or councillors don't know what committee they've been assigned. Yeah, I couldn't find it. Oh, okay. Well, maybe they just haven't contacted us.
We'll check that. So we'll get a list out to councillors?
No, I can find if it's in the...
Be good.
Oh, it is there in the... Oh, well, no, it'd be good. So we've got... Yeah, thank you. All right, so we'll put that, if there's nothing further on the traffic, all in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, so now we'll move on to, no reports from delegates, correspondence requiring council action for information. I'll just run through 4.1 Australian Local Government Association. It's just a letter from the inviting council to the National General Assembly in Canberra. 12.2 is, do you want to deal with any of those as we're going, or you just want to, I might do them as a block if you're happy. Mulwala Progress Association, letter regarding rates within the council area. So we've had Mr. Silliger here to explain that out today, which is good. Now we've got a letter of support for petition to review the Urena truck route, and the copy of the letter is included in the agenda. Oakland Town Improvement Committee reporting their minutes of a meeting held there on the 8th of March 2018. So I'll move those items to be noted to receive correspondence. Would someone like to move by Councillor Lawrence, seconded by Councillor Meagle? Any questions or comments on any of those items, councillors? If not, I'll put them. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. So we'll now move on to item 13, these confidential items, and I'd like someone to move into taking us into closed council with Councillor Law, moved by Councillor Lord, seconded by Councillor Kennedy. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. We'll just have a brief